For 30 years, 3D printing has been used to rapidly prototype new ideas and iterate designs, but as the quality of the technology has improved, we're now able to produce the thing itself in the same amount of time that we once just produced a prototype.
3D printing is a disruptive technology, and architects have used disruptive technologies ever since architecture began. When iron was first being used, it was disruptive. When steel was first invented, it was disruptive. When glass was first made cheaply, it was disruptive. So any technology that comes about that is changing the way the game is played will be disruptive to our industry. And I think it's architects who can really take advantage of that disruption that come to the forefront.
Well, we were invited to participate in a design competition for one of our clients. 4 firms were invited. It was a 2-month process. First month we spent actually exploring design options, and the second month was saved for production of our final solution to be presented to a board of panelists on the selection committee.
From the beginning, we knew we wanted to do a model, and we didn't really know how. We didn't really know how that process would take place, but as we got more and more into it, as we got into the schedule and into the design, we realized that we didn't have the time to do a traditional model. And so we sought out some alternatives, and the 3D printer experience really kind of came through for us because they quoted us something that was unbelievable in terms of a traditional model making and something that was extremely fast.
So we were really excited to partner with Legat on this. We absolutely loved the design of the building, and it was a really cool opportunity for us to produce something that was going to be beautiful and unique and serve a function. Architects are great to work with because they're already thinking in 3 dimensions, they're familiar with 3D design software.
We went with 3D printing for a lot of reasons. A big reason was because we built the model in Revit.
It's so efficient knowing that we're building the 3D model anyway and digitally. And why wouldn't we use that for both physical models as well as for our rendering when we need to outsource these services?
So when they went to make their pitch, they were presenting this to a panel of judges. They were competing with other architecture firms. We were excited to give them a competitive edge.
It's state-of-the-art technology. It proves that you're at the forefront of technology and you're performing to the best of your abilities. We learned a lot through the process, and the 3D printer experience helped teach us how to do it smoothly and how to do it quickly on our tight time frame.
When people come to us asking about 3D printing services, commonly what they have in their mind is what's called a fused filament fabrication machine. This is a style of 3D printer that uses a spool of thin plastic filament. It's almost like weed whacker wire. It feeds that through a hot end that is robotically controlled so that it can squirt this glue out, almost like a hot glue gun, squirt this plastic out layer by layer by layer and sort of print 2-dimensional slices, one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other, to build a 3-dimensional object. Here at the 3D Printer Experience, we use an SLS printer, that stands for Selective Laser Sintering. We take a powdered substrate, and in our case it's typically nylon plastic, and you heat it up to just a few degrees below its melting point. An automated windshield wiper blade sweeps a layer of this substrate, and then a Class 1 laser is fired and traces out the parts of that layer that you want to sinter. It does this over 2,500 times per inch. This laser sintering process is a very high resolution style of 3D printing, which means that we can produce objects that have smooth curves and they're very, very accurate and very, very detailed. This technology is going to have a huge impact on the field of architecture. We're going to see more and more 3D printed models used in presentations and pitches to clients and in design competitions, but we're also going to see this integrated into the design process.
Instead of waiting 2 to 3 weeks for a model and stopping our design process then, it meant we could design up until a week out of the due date and really flesh out more of the project. So we ended up with a much more resolved building solution than we otherwise would have.
I think we've tapped into something that is going to be a real resource to the firm.
I will definitely use 3D printing again, probably within the next few weeks.